The good, the bad, and the odd. It's a thing.
Welcome to this episode of The Good, the Bad, and the Odd. We're hosts Mark and Sam. Hi, Sam.
Hello.
Right, so this is episode 666. That's some going, really?
Yeah.
What, 9 years or 8 years or something?
Something like that.
Yeah, so 666. Now, we don't usually do, we're this old and it's... We don't even do Christmas, maybe a bit. We've done... Guy Fawkes Night before.
Yeah.
Viva Vendetta. I think we've done it twice, actually.
Yeah.
But we're not. But I thought we'd do something special for this. So, The Omen was the obvious one, but we didn't go with that. So, I did ask in the Facebook group which 666 movie is appropriate that you'd like to hear us cover. And we're not going to do any of these. I think I put that warning in that thing, but I thought it'd be interesting to see what other ideas there might be around. So, here we go. Okay, so Bruce Hannon, hi Bruce, says, I'm guessing any devil, spawn of Satan type movie would be appropriate. Yep. Just so happens I watched End of Days on Sunday. I think that covers good, bad, and odd. But you know what? We never covered that. Have you ever seen it?
No.
It's bananas. Whoa, Bruce has written a lot about this film. I'll tell you, see if this piques your interest, right? The good. Well, it has Arnie in it, and the plot is, to begin with, isn't that crazy. Maybe a little crazy. A female child is born in 1979 who has the mark, which means she's just destined to become the mother of Satan's child. That must be conceived between 11 p.m. 31st of December 1999 and the midnight of the year 2000. So that 1 hour. So the devil 1 hour is to get the business done, to bring End of Days. Now, I think Arnie's called Jericho Kane in this. How about that? Jericho.
I think I have seen this one, actually, yeah. The devil's like a big snake thing.
I don't remember that. It's Gabriel Byrne.
It's Gabriel Byrne, but he does eventually turn into a giant snake
I
thing.
know he seduces or he gets jiggy with both the wife and daughter of his main follower, and they, in the weird sex act, they kind of fuse in, two women kind of fuse into one being. It's really weird. Anyway, let me read the rest. So Arnie manages to get thrown in the mix. He becomes a bodyguard to Satan, not knowing a few days before Christmas Eve Satan's about to take over the body of his important banker client. Arnie takes a bullet for the devil banker and later finds out it was a priest who was the marksman. Hence, Jericho starts his own investigation after the strange turn of events. So he manages to stop a priest killing the main follower or something by it inadvertently. The bad is a huge stretch to anyone's imagination to think one man can take down Satan. Having said that, I do love the Supernatural TV series, and the Winchester brothers take on the devil every so often, and sometimes even God. Spoiler!
Yeah.
Supernatural. Oh, well, never mind. The odds. The devil at one point shows himself as a huge monster. Maybe that's what you remember. I don't remember this. It was just so out of place. It was almost watching a Bond movie and Godzilla casually walks across the screen. Nice. I'd pay to say that. Despite everything, I enjoyed the movie. It's set up just after Christmas and before New Year, so it feels like a Christmas time. But this is perfect for the Christmas New Year gap thing. Maybe next year. And I said, yeah, that's an excellent show. And then Bob Balaban said, who isn't Bob Balaban? I know who that is. It's Scott from the Stinky Paws podcast. One of my favourite French horror movies of recent years is 666. Sorry, I'll say the start again. Inside, he's posted a picture of Inside, a film called Inside. You ever heard of this film?
Don't think I have.
It's part of the French extremity stuff. It's about a woman who's pregnant whose her husband's died in a car crash, and this other older woman turns up and starts menacing her, basically. Anyway, he says, one of my favourite French horror movies of recent years. 666 is the number of the house where heavily pregnant Alice Paradis lives and is terrorised by the psychotic Beatrice Dalle. Also, the action takes place on Christmas Eve, so a great fun film, festive movie too. Whoa, well, that one sounds a bit much. I said it's a hell of a pick. And Rebecca Booth jumps in and said, he wins. Yeah, okay. Bruce Hannon says, Rebecca, actually, it's slightly wrong. Keanu Reeves wins for Constantine, only because Keanu wins everything ever. So Constantine is another one that's thrown in. Yeah, we've already covered Constantine, but we really like the Satan. Didn't we do a top 5 Satan once? And that was the winner, the Satan in that one.
Yeah.
Well, I put it as a win. Bruce Hannon suggested yet another one. is another one. One more movie to mention. Merch. Get this. Bruce has got us all wrong here. I was shocked when I read this. I am not sure you are fully on board with The Cage. Yeah, we are fully on board with The Cage. Love the UNH's embrace. United Nations, sorry, that's another podcast. Yeah. However, I will throw Drive Angry out there. It's absolutely crazy. I like Drive Angry. I think it's a good film. Have you seen Drive Angry?
No, not yet.
Where basically Nick Cage comes back to take on the Devil's Minion to rescue someone, and it's nuts. It's pretty good. And I've also pointed out Cage is our number one actor in our Hall of Good, Bad and Odd.
Yeah.
So shame on you, Bruce. Shame on you. And then we get one more. Philip Green. Satan's Triangle is from 1975. Is a weird one with Troy McClure, and Kim Novak set in the Bermuda Triangle. Very rare that it shows up on TV. It's quite creepy. Yeah, no, we did do that. What we did do is Legend. Ridley Scott's movie Legend from 1985. Right, and we watched it twice, didn't we? We watched it twice, kind of. There were two cuts on the DVD, on the Blu-ray. We watched the, what was it? They called it something like the European edit, which was about 90-odd minutes. And then we watched the director's edit, which was close to 2 hours, right? Ridley Scott reconstructed it, and there was some blurb on the front, some Ridley Scott saying, this isn't a perfect print, but this is the best, closest to the vision I was going for. And honestly, we didn't feel there was that much difference. Did we?
No, it's just like weirdly longer, but nothing noticeable. Like we were literally sort of waiting for there to be like an obvious like inserted scene or just something different.
We couldn't tell. That was it felt less rushed. The first one felt the short one felt rushed to me. It felt a bit like but the second one, I couldn't notice anything specifically different, but it was like 30 minutes longer, so God knows where that came from. Anyway, so it was one of Tom Cruise's very, very early roles. It's probably his second headline role after Risky Business, I'd say. Something like that. We also get Mia Sara, who's most famous probably for being Ferris Bueller's girlfriend in Ferris Bueller's Day Off, but she's been in a few other things. And the legendary Tim Curry, which is probably the reason we picked this.
Yeah. There's a reason I suggested it, so.
We also get David Bennett, who's always an interesting actor. He's in probably my favourite German film, which is called The Tin Drum. And he tends to play characters who are children, but he just looks very young, or he might have some sort of growth defect. I don't know. He looks very young, but he was actually 18 when he made this. So he looked about 10.
It's kind of weird.
The only other notable character that people would have heard of probably is Billy Barty, who's a famous dwarf in lots of films. He played one of the sort of little helpers. Okay, this is a nutso film. It kind of borrows from all sorts of fairy tales, doesn't it? There's a bit of Peter Pan. There's a bit of, I don't know, anything involving quests. Tom Cruise plays a character called Jack who lives in the woods. And him and Princess Lily have something going on. And he's made Lily a promise to show her something special, which sounds a bit dubious. And it turns out there's unicorns in this forest. But at the back of all that, there's the Lord of Darkness, who we don't see until like the final third, I'd say. But we hear his voice. And he directs his little minions led by
his
a goblin called Blix. To go and kill the disgustingly pure beasts that are unicorns.
I do like the goblins; they're pretty funny.
I like Blix. There's always a line. It's not no reason it's just sticking in my head, but it always stuck for me. That line Blix says, which is black as coal, black as pitch, blacker than the foulest witch. Has your heart black? Says the Lord of Darkness. And Blix replies. So he's got Blix to go and kill the unicorn and remove the horn. Which I found out reading this is called an alicorn. I didn't know that.
they do name it a couple of times in the film. So
he seems to deliberately not say the word. At one point, he shows Blix by sticking a pointy thing in his forehead and saying this, to tell him what he's going to do. I think if I was to pick one of the two, I'd say watch the longer one, actually. It felt a bit more spaced out. But it's a weird film anyway, isn't it? what I was saying to you when we were watching is, who's the audience for this? Because it's not kids. It's not kids.
No.
It's too strong. It's way too strong for that. And it had a touch of. It reminded me of a few other. Did it remind you of any other films?
Kind of every fantasy film, because a lot the goblins and the Swamp Witch really kind of look like Peter Jackson orcs.
Yeah.
Like the Lord of Darkness is just every devil figure ever.
I feel like the South Park devil is kind of based on this.
Probably.
And also reminded me a bit of Hellboy. There's a touch of that too. But yeah, the goblins. Now they shot all this in studio, which was quite amazing when you actually see it. It looks like a forest, but they built it. They built all the sets up in a massive soundstage. So that was something, right? What's your thoughts on that?
It's still kind of hard to believe because everything's so massive. Like, there's no middle ground in the sizes here. It's either like they're in the most compact tunnel you've ever seen, or they're in huge open halls. Yeah.
It's big. It's big, isn't it? It's big. And it's got a dreamlike quality. There's like the woman, when the princess starts singing, everything goes quiet and it's just her voice, which feels like Peter Jackson was riffing on. There's bits in Lord of the Rings where I think Aragorn's singing.
Yeah.
In the extended cuts and everything goes quiet, and it kind of reminded me of this film. Felt like an influence of that. So there was definitely a Lord of the Rings. There was, as I say, there was like fairy tales, Peter Pan. There was a bit of Disney in here too, because there was like birds flying around while the princess was wandering around. So there's a bit of Disney princess in there. So he's Jack of the Forest, and Jack decides he's going to show Lily something special, which is the unicorns. And he takes her to see it, and they're kind of scared by her, but she starts singing a song and they calm down. But when she strokes one, that's a forbidden act, and it causes all sorts of things to kick off.
It doesn't seem like that's the forbidden act, because at the same time, the goblins poison it.
Yeah, she is the bait. In fact, there's only one...
Yeah.
But doesn't the Lord of the Darkness say there's only one bait for such disgusting creatures, and that's goodness.
Pure heart, yeah.
And that's what Lily turns out to be, the bait that they just have to follow. So they're shooting with a horrible poison doe plant, and the unicorns run off, but they manage to catch the stallion, and...
No, they kill
the unicorns run off.
Well, they shoot the stallion.
No one knows this at this point, right? No one realises.
Blake says a nice little thing where he's like, "Isn't she lovely? Isn't she sweet? Ain't half as good as the foulest meat."
Yeah. There's a lot of rhyming couplets in this.
Yeah.
So the unicorns run off. Then Lily sort of says, "Oh, it's all right," and she says, "I'll marry the man whoever rescues this ring." And she throws a ring in a pond.
Yeah.
Jack jumps in after it, but
immediately while it's still in the air. So.
Yeah, we get a touch of Lion the Witch in the Wardrobe. Everything turns to winter. In fact, the pond freezes above him, doesn't it? And he has to break his way out.
Yeah.
Meanwhile, Lily goes to see her peasant friends we saw earlier, but they're all frozen solid, even the baby. And she then hears the goblins coming, so she hires, and the goblins come in and start smashing the place using the chopped off unicorn horn, the alicorn, to do that. Blix is using it for magic, and they're saying, "Oh," the pig-like creatures saying, "Turn everything to garbage."
Yeah,
and all this, and she knows what she's done. Essentially, and she says, "I will make it better." While all this is happening, Jack's like, "What's going on here in the winter?" And this weird little creature.
Suddenly, about 40 fairies turn up. Yeah. Fairies, dwarves, and other sort of fantastical things. Yeah,
Honeythorn Gump. Gump is his name. This is David Bennett as this weird elf creature. Like half satyr, half elf kind of creature.
Yeah.
And with some little helpers. There's Una the fairy.
Yeah.
A couple of dwarves. Brown Tom and Screwball, which Billy Barty's Screwball, the older one, and they kind of got a weird Irish accents, or one of them has. And they find the mare with the stallion who's just lying on the ground, possibly dead. It's not clear. So he says, Gump is saying, what caused this? What's all this? And he says, I did it for love. He goes, oh, okay, all right. And then and then it becomes a mission film, and they say, oh, you need weapons and this and that. And Una guides him to a place full of, gold chainmail and swords and shields and stuff like that. And they say they have to go through this weird swamp, which looks like Dagobah. Really looks like Dagobah system. And they encounter this amazing, I thought it was amazing creature called Meg Mucklebones, who's like a witch thing, a swamp hag.
Yeah.
Now, the reason Tim Curry came to this was apparently Ridley Scott was thinking of Richard O'Brien for the role of Meg Mucklebones, and that led him to watch Rocky Horror Show, which led him to Tim Curry. So that was lucky, right? That was lucky. It's really hard to think of anyone else. I mean, loads of people could do it. You could dress up in the red outfit, but Tim Curry's got real presence here, isn't he?
Yeah. Mainly because he's got this, the makeup makes it so he's got this giant pointed chin and horns and everything. He does look 100% the devil. So.
Yeah, he definitely does. And the way he conducts himself too, which we'll come to in a bit, but we get Meg Mucklebones, who's this green hag thing. And it's kind of... I'm sure there was a bit of animatronics in it, the way it moved. It was almost like the whole body was on a plank being waved around. And this guy was inside that creation. It was quite amazing, wasn't it?
Yeah, it was really cool. There's it's Robert Picardo as Meg Mucklebones.
Yeah, that's the Star Trek.
Yeah,
Star Trek.
He's he's the emergency medical hologram in Star Trek.
Okay, cool. What in the film?
He's in First Contact and Deep Space Nine. So
okay. And he manages to sweet talk her, and she's got some great dialogue. Oh, you will be a good meal if the rest of you is as sweet as your tongue. All that kind of stuff, right? It's a proper witch from Hansel and Gretel kind of thing, right? Really cool. And he manages to say, oh, you're so lovely, you don't want scrawny meat like me. And he distracts her by handing her his shield, which has got a reflection in, which she's kind of fascinated by. And then he basically chops her head off, and her body goes mad, and then falls into the swamp. Yeah. So they managed to get there, and they managed to get to the big old enclave of Lord of Darkness. The son, he's basically, they tell him the unit. Oh, at one point, one of the little helpers, just as the Lord of Darkness turns up, we never actually see him in this bit. It's just like a presence. When he turns up in the forest, and Blix tells him they've killed the unicorn, a little helper grabs the horn and sort of says, "I banish you," and Lord of Darkness just zaps him, doesn't he? And he gets like a mummy to grab him and jumps into a pit, which is kind of funny. It made me laugh. Anyway, they manage to get into this place, and they get into the kitchen, which is like a nightmare. It's kind of a bit Cenobite. It's a bit Silent Hill. What's your thoughts on that?
The weird giant pig things were odd, because there was no explanation for them. They weren't like goblins. And they put the guy in a pie at one point. Yeah,
they put the little guy in the pie. Because the dwarves encounter one of their own, who was the little helper. And he says, how'd you get here? He goes, let's just say I had many adventures. That covers it all, right? That covers it. There's also a bit where Una reveals herself to be like a 12-year-old girl or a 11-year-old girl. She looks like that. And she says, kiss me, Jack, kiss me. And it's a bit uncomfortable because she's quite young and Tom Cruise looks like he's thinking about kissing her. It would have worked a little better if she was older looking. But this was a bit weird, wasn't it?
Yeah.
And she said, he gives her a peck on the cheek. He goes, call that a kiss? You know nothing of Fairy's heart. Her Fairy's heart. Oh, she's moaning anyway. She's moaning. It's a bit Tinkerbell and Wendy and Peter Pan. Yeah. There's a bit of that going on. But she does go a lot. She
goes and gets the key.
So. Yeah, at this point, I don't think Gump knew she was anything other than tiny. So when she grows to normal size, or a size we're familiar with. Gump's really annoyed. He goes, you kept this secret and all this. He was a bit angry about it. Anyway, she goes and gets the key, and they go on. So they have a big fight with the ogre cook things. Jack's getting stuck in. I think this was a bit longer in the longer cut, right? We remember it being a lot shorter the first time we watched it. The thing is, it's such a weird fever dream of a film. It's hard to think, did I see that last time? I think I did. But it's a bit of that going on, because everything's just so weird. So they get out, and then they go spy on the Lord of Darkness when he's talking to Lily. So Lily, there's some really cool stuff with the Lily seduction stuff, isn't there? There's a bit where she finds Jules, and then this weird dress starts dancing on its own.
Yeah.
I mean, there's a dancer in black, covered in black stuff. Material sort of dancing, and then it kind of cuts really well. So she's dancing with the dress. Lily is dancing with the dress because she's getting kind of seduced, and then suddenly she's in the dress dancing, and that's really cool. I like that. Did you like that?
Yeah, that was a really cool match cut. I don't even know if you could call it a match cut because, it was such a good transition. So. Well,
basically, the dress was swaying closer and closer to the camera, and at one point it goes black because the dress is fully covering the camera lens, and then the next time it comes off, she's in the dress dancing, but it's exactly to the same rhythm, isn't it? So it looks like a perfect cut. Very good, very good. It must have taken a few takes or edits to do that. And she's dressed looks like Morticia, right? She's got a white face and black makeup. She's proper goth.
Yeah.
And then when she's looking at herself in the mirror, suddenly the Lord of Darkness steps out of the mirror.
It's not even he steps out. She's just looking at it. His hand just bursts out of the mirror.
Yeah, and he comes out, and then we see his hoof come out. Oh yeah, he's got cloven hoofs, and then he steps out bodily, and he's massive. And he's got a sort of saying, and she's terrified and goes, "Oh, don't be frightened of me, my lady. I mean you no harm." And we do see it right at the beginning. He kind of falls in love with, well, not near the beginning, sometime before. Once he first encounters Lily, he says, she can be my bride. And he goes, no, you can't tell her. Some other voice, his dad or something, says, no, you must woo her, not, scare her. And he's trying to be pleasant, but she keeps denying him, and he has these moments of rage, and he calms down straight away, doesn't he? But it's quite intimidating. I thought so. What do you think?
It's he's such a weird character because he's a weirdly petty thing.
Yeah.
He keeps throwing tantrums.
Yeah, and then he calms right down and says, "Whatever you wish, my lady."
Yeah. He's trying to get her to sit on this big throne, which is presumably going to do something to her.
Yeah, it's got a weird throbbing, organic feel to it, hasn't it? It's really weird. And he keeps saying, "Sit or stand as you wish, my lady." Then he says, "Sit and talk. That's all I wish." And she's like, "No, I think I'll stand." He's like,
yeah, he's starts smashing up the table and then turns back to her and goes, "Whatever you wish."
Whatever you wish. And it's kind of Tim Curry's performance really makes this work because he manages to swing from raged to fine, to charming. And, Tim Curry's kind of charming. Yeah. There's all that. Meanwhile, they're overhearing it, and there's this mention of, they need the final unicorn killed before everything descends to darkness in his power. So, there's... I think Gump says to Jack, at least she's not dead, at least she's still alive. But while there is sun, there is hope. And then Jack figures out a plan where he uses reflecting light of shiny objects to fire sunlight into the darkest chamber, right?
Yeah. So they spend about 10 minutes running around setting up shields to reflect light all the way from the top of the building all the way down to a chamber. So.
That's right. But then the dwarf who did the big climb up the top falls asleep or something. It's not.
I think the idea is he froze, maybe.
Did he?
He started to freeze because it's still winter outside.
Yeah, so. I thought this was a bit I think it wasn't clear what was happening at this point, but the dwarf was unconscious or not moving or something. So the fairy goes up and tries to wake him up, and he won't wake up. The fairy's then trying to lift it, but we don't actually see what happens. But in the end, it all lines up, and the devil or Lord of Darkness gets it right in the kisser, doesn't he? Mind you, there is a big fight with Jack first, isn't there? Jack
Jack throws down a bit with the Lord of Darkness because Lily says, like, "Oh, I want to kill the unicorn," to sort of lure the Lord of Darkness in.
He's well happy when he hears that,
He's
isn't he?
so overjoyed. And they like set up a whole thing with the unicorn. He gives her a sword. And Gubb's like, yeah, she's gone, just shoot her. But, yeah, she then uses the sword to cut I can't even remember what the
chain.
Chain to. Yeah, she cuts a chain. And the unicorn, like, runs off, and then Darkness hits her, and Jack just sort of, like, jumps down onto Darkness and steals the unicorn horn off him. So.
Yeah, that's right. So Jack's fighting with this big devil. This felt a bit longer than the shorter cut. Sorry, that sounds like a stupid thing to say, but this section felt a bit longer, didn't it? The whole fight seemed to be a bit more extended, and it was fine. It wasn't particularly long or anything. But Jack manages to stab him with the unicorn horn, doesn't he? And then the sunlight hits him, and then Darkness, like Lord of Darkness, says, you can't get rid of me. You need me. I will never be gone, and all this. And then Jack just chops his hand off, so he goes flying off into the void with the. And then somehow they get the horn back and put it back on the unicorn, and everything's fine, and Winter disappears. And then Jack jumps in the pond, retrieves the ring. While Lily's unconscious, he goes and gets the ring. When she wakes up, he gives it to her, which kind of suggests they're going to get married, and they go off. I mean, that's it. There was just so you know, there was 3 alternate endings. They in the director's cut, which I think is the one we did. Hold on, this wasn't in our cut. Oh no, he tries to persuade her she was just dreaming, but she doesn't believe it. But it says here they realise they've got different lives and go separate ways. Today I thought, I guess they kind of did, but there was no implication they weren't going to see each other again. There was a bit of that, yeah. And in the European cut, the shorter one, they just go off together. And then apparently there's an American theatrical release where they go off together, but then you kind of get Darkness watching them from the void and you hear him laugh. That's how it ends. Which I kind of like. We didn't see that version. That's quite a cool ending. So, yes. So, weird, right? Weird.
Yeah, very weird.
It didn't quite hang together. It had lots of influences. There was bits of it reminded me of Blade Runner heavily, which isn't surprising. Certainly the bit in the ice house, the frozen house. And they were taken from Disney. They were taken from the 1946 version of Beauty and the Beast. There was a bit of that. I can definitely see that. And I believe the unicorn footage was also reused in Blade Runner director's cut.
we were actually talking about this when we first watched it, because I was just looking up and I was like, do you think they'd either reuse the prop from Blade Runner? Because Blade Runner's came out beforehand, but the re-edit came out after this.
Yeah.
So
did he? I was wondering if he shot some of the unicorn stuff for Blade Runner, then reused it, or who knows? We don't know. Probably someone knows, but we don't know. Apparently, one of the first drafts of this, and it was called Legend of Darkness first, had Lily slowly turning into a clawed, fur-covered beast who is whipped and sexually seduced. What?
Okay.
That's a bit. Apparently, there was a long meandering script, and they had to cut quite a bit out. There was lots of stuff that they thought, we're not going to use this, which they didn't do. I think the only bit they did use, other than getting to the castle, was the Meg Mucklebone stuff, which I thought was good anyway. So
yeah.
So and they were. And Scott envisioned this to look a bit like Disney, so there is a bit of that too. Yeah. There's a bit of Fantasia in there going on as well, I think. And the makeup was amazing.
Yeah.
Certainly Tim Curry. Well, the Blitzes and Tim Curry's.
Tim Curry's was apparently, it gave him a claustrophobic attack. Like, he just had a panic attack while they were taking it off, and he, like, pulled off a huge chunk of it that was still stuck to his head.
So he pulled off skin.
Yeah, he pulled off skin and gave himself quite a bad injury, so that's why the Lord of Darkness doesn't appear until the very end.
Yeah.
Sort of thing.
Okay. I think they were saving him up.
They could basically just put the gloves on him and have him sit in a chair for the first bits.
Yeah, I like the music as well. You know what? I kind of like this film, but it was weird as hell. It was probably Ridley Scott's weirdest film, I'd say.
Yeah.
But it is held in high regard. It's interesting, the Wikipedia page about Ridley Scott mentions 4 things he shot specifically. 5. 2, 3, 4, 5. And then the rest of his filmography, right? And those 5 are The Duelists, which I haven't seen, Alien, which we all know about, 1979. Blade Runner, we all know about, 82 was a failure. And then between Blade Runner and Legend, which was 1985, there's a mention of the 1984 Apple Macintosh commercial, the famous one with the guy throwing a sledgehammer into a screen. Woman, maybe, I think actually it is. Throwing a sledgehammer into a screen. It's a really good advert, but it's quite interesting, given the same prominence as one of his movies. I guess culturally it's very important advert, right? That might be it. And then we get to Legend. So good score. A bit of Tangerine Dream was in there, and I think Jerry Goldsmith did some too.
Yeah,
there was some stuff.
Yeah.
And then he went on, and he's made some great films since these. Thelma Louise and stuff like that. Gladiator was quite impactful. And so on. But I mean, I think
he's not done well recently.
No, Alien and Blade Runner are the pinnacle, but Legends is pretty damn good.
I've heard The Martian's really good.
Oh, The Martian is very good. Yeah, that's probably his last really good film. I think that I can.
Yeah. Alien Covenant, which is. Prometheus, same sort of thing. Robin Hood, no.
Yeah, Gladiator is one of those films, a bathtub type of film, in that the beginning's really good and the end's really good. The middle bit sags.
Okay.
And he made Kingdom of Heaven, which I've heard is very good, but I haven't seen it. Especially apparently the director's cut, which I think is 4 hours or something. It's supposed to be really good. Yeah, it's a long one. I could be wrong there, but I think that's what it is. But anyway, back to Legend. Yeah. So, any final thoughts?
No, not really. It's such a... Okay, this definitely needs to go in the Hall of Good, Bad, Nod, because there's bits of all 3.
Yeah,
so.
I agree. The story's a bit incoherent, but without... Well, it isn't, because it's obvious what's going on. It's just, you don't quite realise what's happening until it's happened.
Yeah.
In fact, my review of it on Letterboxd, I just put bizarre but quite wonderful, is how I described it. It is bizarre, but it's wonderful. There were some weird moments. So like modern, like contemporary slang in the middle of it. There was a bit where it goes, "You'll be shish kebab," which seems a weird thing to say in a fantasy film. Stuff like that. Tim Curry brings the class. That's for sure.
Yeah.
It's a glorious mess in somewhat, and I think it's more good and odd than bad, in my opinion. But there's definitely all 3.
It's very video gamey. Like I've seen suggestions that this film inspired the Legend of Zelda, because like it's a common thing that there's like usually a MacGuffin that Link is chasing after, and the Princess Zelda is usually being kept by Ganon or Vati or whichever villain.
Yeah.
And this had a very, like, video game boss feel. Like...
Yeah, I can see that. It also reminded me of Silent Hill. The bit in the kitchen was a bit Silent Hill.
Yeah.
Weird pig ogre things. And stuff like that. It also reminded me of a few other films. It reminded me of Jabberwocky and Time Bandits.
I've not seen Jabberwocky.
Had that kind of film. Time Bandits in particular. It reminded me of that. It felt like the same space to me. So yeah, it's an interesting film. What would you give it out of 10?
I'd easily give it an 8.
I'll give it an 8 too. It doesn't quite work. If it was slightly put together in a slightly more coherent way, it'd be even high for sure. But there's bits where you're perplexed what's going on. And there's only once something ends, you realise, they were doing this. You know, it's kind of that going on. But yeah, not bad. Not a bad film for our 666, I think. No, well, this one's all right. Yeah. And we'll induct it into the Hall of Fame, right? We're just going to put it in. It seems like a legit one to move in. So that's probably our last recording of 2019, I'd say. Yeah. I hope everyone had a good Christmas, and I hope everyone has had a reasonably good year, and I hope everyone has a good year in 2020.
Yeah.
So, bye from me.
Bye.